Hello, welcome to the Chesapeake Today Show. It's your executive director, David Loop.
And Candace Montgomery, Director of Life Enrichment.
So, into the 8th month of the
I
year.
know, my gosh. It's the last month of summer.
Yeah.
I
So,
know.
but preparing for school, but will Clint officially, is it in September or do they start in August
No,
yet?
they start the last Monday of August,
Okay.
which I think has been a thing since COVID. Because I remember going back to school after the last holiday of summer. It was kind of always that, oh, that's your last hurrah.
Yeah.
But not the case anymore. They go back early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have that. I know that between volunteers and wonderful donations, the backpacks is really kicking into gear.
Yes.
Is this our 5th year?
I think it might be our 5th year of doing this. And it's been nice to see the residents who they can remember the first time we did it, and just, I feel like each year we get a little bit more organized with our assembly line, and we've seen some ebbs and flows of moving to the clear backpacks, and it's just amazing how even over 5 years how much can change with the school systems, what they require.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting.
Very fine.
Yeah.
So I think between the generous donations, so thanks residents for that,
Yeah.
and for just the initiatives yourself, the volunteers, etc. What's your number of bags this year?
So we have 75.
Okay.
Yes, 75, which is
So we think about
good.
the team members and those who can benefit, and just for residents to know, we really guide the team members and seeking those that, it's a lot tougher when you've got that single mom or single dad that's just got 2 or 3 kids. So we definitely want to be there for them. We do some guidance that if it's one of our managers or even a nurse or others at a higher income level and they're married and they're really comfortable, they're not as much in need. But just really trying to reach as best we can those, and I think everyone's doing a good job in that.
I would say as well. Yes, most definitely.
So last week was sort of quiet. We sent out an announcement about Leslie Bryan, who will be joining your
Yes,
team.
very excited.
And Leslie will be a resident relations coordinator. And then after this session, we'll be interviewing another important element of the resident experience.
Glad to
And
have
you'll be
her
meeting
too.
another new team member. So just really neat. And of course, you're adding those two dynamos to Donna, and then you got your entire life enrichment team. So
Yeah.
it's just very cool. So excited about all of that. And I think for you residents, just when you got the caliber of people, the personalities, it just makes it special.
I
So,
think we're getting to a really good place. I think it's sometimes these things ebb and flow, and we think, oh man, how are we going to be able to find the next person that's just amazing, is going to be able to really understand the
Yeah.
role. So I'm excited for Leslie to join us because
Absolutely.
she gets it and she'll be wonderful.
I think as you say it, Candace, so often the residents, we have that time, and you've had to do it recently with, fitness and others, that we share with you that one of our team members has a new avenue, a new opportunity, or moving out of the area, or whatever the circumstance. And for all of it, it's to me like a loss, because you've got these relationships. And then we go through and we try to work through that, and we try to do our very best to communicate a little bit more, because you need to know why.
Right.
And we do as best we can. There's sometimes, rarely, that it's an issue where we've had to ask someone to leave. That's really more rare. But when they have their own life's journey, we have to understand it. Why are they doing this? Oh, they're going back for school. They need to dedicate time. They need whatever. And then, as you were alluding to, we got this excitement of new people joining us. And sometimes, if we really reflect on it, we're even moving and advancing to a whole new, different level.
Different perspectives, people see things differently, and it's exciting when we can see, my hope with Leslie, and I'm confident she will be able to do this, really take that role to the next level.
Yeah.
Her personality and her vision and her experience, I think we'll get there.
Yeah. And I think just as we're on this for the next few weeks, all of our new residents, because we have had several move in over the summer months. We've got a couple, I think 3 or 4 moving in this month in August. Please realize, Candace and I, Isaiah, Matt, our concierges, Kathleen in marketing, Uwe. There's so many of us that are here to help bridge your transition. So it's not that you're without, we just are really all trying to help. So new residents, we just always say, reach out to the concierge. We want our concierges to put you in touch with us, or if not, you see us, just ask. We want you to feel quickly assimilated and part of this family.
And I know the hospitality committee has really stepped up
Yeah.
too, which has been
Very
wonderful. They're already so supportive, but just making sure they're just extra attentive to those folks because they don't have that go-to person, that one single person. It's taken a village to bring these folks together,
That
which
is
is not a
wonderful.
bad thing. So,
So last week, I think I heard barking in the building.
oh my gosh,
So
yes.
who do we have here?
Yes. So, of course, it was Bucky and Indy, and everyone can't believe how much Indy has grown over the last month since he's been back here. So, I don't know if you've ever seen those. You can join two dogs together with one leash instead of having two. So we're still kind of getting used to that and them walking together because Bucky is a little bit bigger than Indy. So it's kind of comical getting into the building. But once we get settled, then it's amazing. Residents really enjoy that, and we even had Linda Hicks bring her dog over, Molly, as well. So it was quite the group of dogs and residents in the aerobic studio. So it was good. We had some new folks join us too. I always like to see when people who haven't been before come and they really express that they miss having that animal and this fills that void. So that's the purpose. So I like when that happens.
Have you watched any of the Olympics?
Oh, well, I've only seen the clips of their golden retriever.
That's where I was heading.
I was like, oh my gosh, what?
So
Of course it's a golden.
So what do you know of that story?
I don't know a whole lot of it because I've only seen little clips. Like I hadn't actually watched that footage, but it's been popping up on my social media because, the algorithms pick up that you like golden retrievers. And it's like, oh, here's this content.
All right, so I'll film what I've
Okay.
seen, and because I've watched limited Olympics. I
Mm-hmm.
love the sport. I love the activity, but quite honestly, I get it where NBC is getting their 1.2 billion in commercial time because just about for every quick swim event, you got 3 commercials.
3 commercials, yeah.
All right, do it.
It's a
But
lot
anyways,
of time.
the gymnastic team and gymnastics, and I think any of these things, it is just so intense. They're training, whatever, and I think it's become so apparent in many sports. The need for that psychological support, for the emotional support, etc. And what they did with the gymnastics team, the U.S. women's and the men's, I think, may have also benefited from it. This woman who owns a Labrador, golden retriever, excuse me,
Because they are not the same.
and they're not the same. And with that animal, its name is, I remember seeing one thing. It was Paw something.
Yeah.
Paw, and I think it has something to do with like Paw's relaxation or something.
I feel like
There's
Isaiah's
this
about to
thing.
Google
So
it.
he'll help us. And it's basically, from Simone Biles to any of them, when
right.
they're having that stressful moment, that dog comes around and it just sort of absorbs it. It's like this sponge and
So,
helping them.
I really think the Chesapeake needs that. Don't we just need a dog up here every time we feel stressed?
You have to figure out an approach and accomplish it. I've had dogs in my communities.
Oh, my
I've had full
goodness.
pet therapy programs.
You know what? Now that you say that, with my Leadership Academy, we went to a community. I want to say it was the one in DC. Their memory care unit had a resident dog. And that was the neatest thing to see. So it's just like that would be a really cool possibility.
So in 1982, well before, that was my first introduction of Sir Winston. He was sort of a partial sheepdog that we got from the Humane Society.
Yeah, sure.
And introduced him to the psychiatric hospital where I worked.
Wow.
And I had a forensic unit of men, and he would come on the unit, and then we got fish, and we got birds, and I think I got either a second dog, but it was all part of it. And then we had a courtyard area,
Yeah.
and I had to create a system because he lived there.
Right.
The dog did. And it
Who was
was
gonna
fascinating.
walk
So
or-
that was
yeah.
my first, and I was with the University of Cincinnati. We had medical students and nursing students, and I was demonstrating how pet therapy can work.
Yeah, that's
So
neat.
I had a few things way back up my sleeve.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
But that was a fun one, and I can still see Sir Winston.
Oh, my
And I don't know,
goodness.
one of the patients back then, there were patients,
Yeah.
named him. Wow. So it's all possible. You just have to. It's the systems you have to put in place, and trust me, I had to sweat over that one. Of course, then what happened if anytime he ever started to bark,
Right.
and we had to work on that.
Yeah, because
So-
there's a lot of moving parts with that for sure.
Yeah, but there's clearly times that can be very helpful. All right, so the name of the dog,
Beacon, the
That's
therapy
right.
dog.
Beacon the therapy dog.
Bacon, Beacon.
I think it's Beacon.
Could be Beacon.
Yeah.
It could be a funny name for Bacon.
Right.
Yeah, and there was this other. I remember seeing this word. It was paw something, and it was like that they were using that sort of as a word. It was a play on of
Like maybe positivity or
Most
something.
valuable pup, MVP.
Yeah, Mozart, and I think it was positivity.
Positivity.
It's
That makes
positivity.
sense.
That was
Love
it. So
that.
between Mozart Pup. So thank you, Isaiah. Always here to help us with the trivia.
Of course
so
it's a golden
again,
retriever.
we were talking about that, talking about the right type of dog. You've got 2 of them. They're
Yes,
growing.
they are
They're
the best.
all fine. So that's Little Olympics as well. So we'll move onward. You want to hit this week?
I do. So we've got quite the volunteer opportunities this week now that we're in the first full week of August. Starting off with Monday, we have our partnership with the YMCA. So our connection with Leslie that I had formed through Rotary that before she even applied for the job. So it's cool to see everything kind of come together. With their Bright Beginnings program. So as we do something for our team members, they also with the Y raise funds for this Bright Beginnings program that is twofold. The first opportunity on the 5th, so Monday here, is going to their Oyster Point office to be able to assemble backpacks. So just like we do for our team members,
Good.
they do something similar. So signups, we still have room. I would say we probably have room for a few more seats if anybody wants to join in. We're leaving at 9 a.m. from the Hampton entrance. And then later that day at 9:30, there'll be a Langley shopping trip leaving from the Hampton entrance as well. On the 6th, 9:45 a.m., there's a trip for a Norfolk Naval Base narrated tour cruise.
Very good.
Yeah, that'll be interesting for sure. I know that'll be a packed trip. And then Tuesday, we're doing our team member backpack assemblies.
Okay.
So that's at 1 o'clock in the Chesapeake Room. Oh my goodness, I think I have like 20 volunteers for that. So we're going to be moving very swiftly this year, which is great. The more helpers, the better. And then fitness is doing some balance testing that afternoon. So at 2:30 p.m. in the aerobic studio, senior fitness evaluations if you want to come take part in that. 7 p.m. we have Larry Heatwall, who is, I know, a fan favorite in the Chesapeake Room. Wednesday, we've got a lunch trip at 11 a.m. to Aticha Thai Cuisine. I believe that's in Williamsburg, I want to say, leaving from the Hampton entrance. And then Thursday, Jody's going to be here. She's going to be doing a foundation one-on-one or 101 with Jody in the Explorer Room at 1 o'clock. Been trying to have those at least quarterly to catch new residents so that they really understand foundation, resources that are available, ways they can give back. So this will be the first one that we will have had in a while. And then 6:15 p.m. that evening, still on the 8th, the U.S. Army Band Music Under the Stars at Fort Monroe. That's always a really good one. And then Friday the 9th is National Book Lovers Day, so we'll have some bookmarks that folks can choose from. 11 a.m. outside the cafe. We'll be there from like 11 to 1, so stop by during that time frame. And then Al has a very intriguing travelogue that evening called Why Dry? Be interesting to see what that'll be about. And that kind of rounds out the week.
Good.
Yeah, a lot happening.
Good. Wonderful things. Friday, different things. So excellent.
And Christmas is coming up because I met with my Over the Moon ladies last week, and that's when it feels really real. Once I have the meeting with them, then it's like, okay.
Now you're into a whole
Different
visual
mindset.
concept. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and just little things like 55th in between then
Oh,
and
I
now,
know.
and
Just little
Halloween,
things,
and
yeah.
Lobster Fest, and Thanksgiving, but it's all comes together.
But they're doing a lot of new and different trees this year, so it'll be fun to see that. They're so creative. It's always fun to see what they put together, new themes and things like that.
Good.
So.
Well, and the other thing is they hear about some of these renovations
Yes,
and the spaces.
they were
and the
very excited
focuses.
about that. So I made sure to.
Well, probably
them-
up until they lost their storage space.
Well, but they were okay with the solution we had talked about, kind of brainstormed. So they were actually relieved because I could tell when we first started the meeting they were very anxious, and by the end we were good. Because it's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
But they're very excited about the spaces and the colors in assisted living. They already have a couple of ideas. So it's going to be really neat to see it all come together.
Good. That's
Yeah.
great. So between now and then, a lot, but between your programming, between things happening around the community, some new faces to get to know, and both residents and team members, have to acknowledge that around the campus, thank you for your continued patience with roofing. And sometimes with roofing, we've had some leaks because there's these temporary patches and transitions between roofs. And if there is any drippage, anything into your home, because sometimes they're in an area, they're finishing out, they're protecting it, but if we get a strong afternoon rain, things can happen. So let us know quickly. Chase Roofing has quickly stepped in to resolve one issue that did happen. So the roofing is progressing. I can't believe the success of the power washing and the soft washing.
Yeah, I can tell a big
And
difference.
if you walk around and look at the buildings and you can see it right out here in front of the community center, that stone, it's never, well, the first day it was put up, it looked better.
Right.
But it has never looked
In a
better for
while.
20 some years.
Yeah.
I hope you walk around and see it. They can address and help us with the rust on buildings and sidewalks. Really stiff price that we're not quite prepared to cross over, but we may slowly work on it. But it's very positive to know there's a good solution. You know, we can never do away with our wells, but we've really corrected a lot of spaces so we're not getting the same buildup of rust.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's occurring. You know, Andy and you and I will chat, and we've already had some preliminary conversations with our big vendors because, you know, when we get that September 20th, we want to make sure that they understand this is where our 55th is, how it's going to be happening, et cetera. So we started
That's a
some
good
of those
point.
conversations,
Okay.
but sort of alerted them, and we can invite them to come.
Yeah.
The other thing that it may be invisible to you all, unless we get a couple of you to help, we're going to do a cookout, and myself and probably Adam Kriegmer from GC Commercial will be grilling out Andy just for the construction workers.
Oh, that's nice.
Those people that have been up on the roofs in terribly hot days, climbing up and down all over. Even the fellows now doing the demo and the construction inside. We try once or twice during a construction phase just to help them to understand. And the date we're going to choose, it'll be somewhere between, you know, Labor Day and the next, maybe the week after. Trying to find a date that works. And it happens to coincide with the kickoff to the healthcare renovations. Some new team members, and just want to continue to reinforce when these workers come into your home, particularly healthcare assisted living, how careful they have to be, assuring your quality of service and care and your environment is safe. So there's always a reason for why we do things with our vendors, but this is double thank them, praise them, and prepare them for the next step with that renovation.
That's great. That's
So-
awesome.
so-
You may even have a few residents who want to get involved with, you know, if we do a similar
Yeah.
assembly line type thing.
Yeah.
Because I know several of them have loved kind of watching the progress.
Yeah. Another thing that we can do, we could interview Adam Kriegmar.
Yeah, that'd be
And
good.
Aaron, who is the project superintendent, is really, it works with Adam in GC Commercial. And as Adam's companies continue to evolve, as any business, the caliber, the quality of his team, and he's just got some really great folks. So some of you residents will remember, as GC has been here for years, when it was a smaller company, and he was trying to grow talent. And you know, it's very different when you get to a size where he is now, where he's still a smaller contractor, but really has some great talent.
Yeah.
So we could interview Aaron
Be good.
or Adam, and for the future.
Most definitely. Great suggestion.
Good.
Awesome.
So I think that's covering a snapshot about happening around campus.
Yep.
Some new folks. Busy week into August. All good.
Yeah.
And we even talked about one of your favorite subjects.
That's right.
We did.
Most definitely.
All right. So we're ready to sign off?
I think so. Stay tuned for that good
But
interview. Yeah.
You're going to want to stay on because there is a great interview coming up. You're going to have a lovely individual to introduce you to. You're going to want to meet her and hear about her. And all you have to do is stay tuned. So until next time, thanks for joining us.
See ya.
Hello and welcome back to the Chesapeake Today Show. And today I've got an opportunity of interviewing one of our newest team members, Octavia Wyman.
Yes, hello.
Octavia, great having you here. And not just us talking on this little segment, but wow, you've been with us several weeks now.
Yes.
And I just hear so many wonderful things from many people. So just so glad you're part of our team.
Yes, I am very happy to be here. Very happy.
Good. So let's clarify. You know, a lot of the residents will think of you as you're the head of the clinic area.
Yes.
Now, your official title is
The Director of Care Coordination.
Director of Care Coordination.
Yes.
And I think as you think about care and services, you know, residents need to understand. We try to have some similarities with our other retirement communities in LifeSpire. We have a salary administration program that we do, but it also, you know, it does speak to, you're really looking at that whole continuum of service, helping the residents on the independent side.
Yes.
Sometimes it is bridging beyond.
Yes.
So it
yes.
makes perfect sense.
Yes, it does. And I absolutely love it. It's exactly what I have always wanted to do. You know, helping any resident or person that I come across, you know, just pretty much helping them achieve their goals.
Fantastic. So as you started this journey, and let's just we'll sort of dive into several different areas here. Let's turn the clock way back. Where are you originally from?
So I'm originally from the Bronx, New York.
Aha.
Yes.
And were you there for many years?
I was there up until I was 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And then I lived in Baltimore, Maryland. And I moved to Virginia in 2010.
Very good.
Yeah.
So you've been here almost 15 years. Very good. And family, what's your family consist of?
So I have 2 sons. One will be 14 this Saturday. And then I have a 6-month-old as well. So big gap.
So it's like, wow, you got 2 families, etc. But at least
Yes.
your 14-year-old, is he helpful? Does he like to help little brother?
Oh yes, he's a great help. Of course, he didn't want a little brother. He wanted to be the only child for the longest, but he fits right into the big brother role perfectly.
That's good.
I'm so thankful for him.
So, I mean, there are many that would say, hey, I'd like to have that separation in age with kids because you get that extra help.
Yes.
A little different understanding, and
Yes.
it sort of allows you to relive everything good
Yes.
and challenging
Yes.
all over again.
It's very different, very different. But again, I wouldn't do it any other way, honestly.
Good.
Yeah.
So do you still have some family up in New York?
I do. I have a lot of family. It's just a few people here, myself, my children, my mom and dad. My grandparents are here, but everyone else is either in New York or in Tennessee.
Good. So what are your thoughts of the Hampton Roads area, coastal Virginia, all these terms we use? You've been here, you said 14, 15 years soon. What's your impression? Because you came from a different part.
Yes.
Down here, how's it been fitting for you?
Well, it's very different. Coming from the city, and I live in Williamsburg now, actually, so very different. A lot quieter, but I enjoy it, honestly. I'm not into the busy everyday life, how it is in Baltimore and in New York. I like the quiet, and Williamsburg is a really nice place to raise kids. And I feel like when I want to like go out and hit the restaurants or go out with friends, Hampton Roads, you know, allows me to do that, coming to Newport News or to Hampton or traveling across well, I don't think that would be considered Hampton Roads, but
It is. It's
Yeah.
all Hampton Roads. You
Okay.
cross across the bridge tunnel.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the craziest thing when we moved here in 2017. And someone would say, so what do you think about Hampton Roads? It's like, well, which road is it?
yeah.
We
like,
always
does it
ask this
stop?
question. Then I started, they said, then they got this definition. Well, it's all of the waterways. It's
Okay.
that big body of water. It sort of connects everything, which then encompasses all the area around it.
Okay.
So I've lived with that definition.
Yes.
And then at times I've listened to the media say, well, coastal Virginia. Okay, that makes sense. But I would just echo, you know, my wife and I most recently were up in Pennsylvania. Prior to that, Chicago for well over 10 years. And I've lived in some other large cities. And of all the places that I've lived, I really find this to have such a unique balance.
Yes.
Because it is easy to get around, as long as we're not dealing a lot with the bridge tunnel traffic.
Right.
But and even with that, it's nothing compared to Chicago traffic.
Yeah.
The bridge tunnel in its worst is Chicago in its best.
Yes.
You know,
And
is the reality.
I can add to that because New York,
Yeah.
the traffic there
Yeah.
is ridiculous. So I'm used to the traffic. It doesn't bother me too much when I hit it.
Great. So the traffic's easy. I love the history in this area. You know, my wife and I will often drive up to your neck of the woods in Williamsburg just to either walk through Colonial Williamsburg. Sometimes it's just driving along the Parkway, going out to Jamestown. Last weekend we almost came up and went across the ferry.
Oh, yeah.
Because last week Candace and I were talking on the show about residents getting ready to make that trip. It's like, I got to do that. But just so many unique things.
Yeah.
I personally like the military presence.
Yes.
I love looking up at the sky and seeing what's flying over next.
Yeah.
So all those things, some decent restaurants,
Yes.
seafood, pretty good place.
Yeah, it is. It's very nice. And again, I feel like Virginia does have a lot to offer, and it has offered a lot to my career as well. So
Yeah.
I'm thankful to be here.
Great. Well, now let's get into that career. So give us some journey. Some of the things you've done in your life. Obviously, you've now progressed into a nursing profession. So, what do you want to share there?
So originally, what I worked at a substance abuse and mental health facility for about 6 years, and that is what really drove me to want to get my nursing degree. I feel like it is very important, and it adds to me being very humble in my profession as well. I wanted to start off as a CNA. And then I wanted to get my LPN license, and which I did. And then I graduated RN school and working on taking my licensure exam. But I guess the best way to put it is I love nursing in all parts of it. So substance abuse is where I started, and then since I've been an LPN, I did long-term care, focusing mainly on like the skilled nursing part of things. And it just allowed me to fall in love with nursing even more. And my ultimate goal is to get my DNP because I really want to help the community and provide the care that I know that can, how can I put it? The care that I know that a lot of people in this world need, and that's just compassionate care.
Yeah.
And I think that I can provide that. I know I can provide that.
So you let the acronym slip, but why don't you go ahead? DNP stands for?
My doctrine, nurse and nurse practitioner.
Great. Well, those are wonderful things. And, you know, with you now right at that cusp of getting your RN license,
Yes.
excellent. We're supportive of that any way you can. You've now entered into this relationship with the Chesapeake of, you know, perhaps Barbara, perhaps others shared with you. I've said it to so many nurses. I've even, my sister Terry, who's been an RN for all of her career, and Terry's now 70. She's worked in every imaginable element of nursing, and she said her ultimate job would be if she could have ever worked at one of my communities as the independent living nurse.
Yes.
She said that would be my number one job because she saw the unusual setting of being at a retirement community, working with some really wonderful residents, all these
sure.
things. But anyways, don't hear from me. I want to hear from you. What have you been experiencing?
Yes.
Because now you've been living this new job.
Yes.
And tell me what you're thinking.
It is very different than what I'm used to. You know, coming from a skilled nursing facility, you are very heavily involved in everything while the patient is under your care. With the residents here, my favorite part about being in the clinic is the autonomy. And I love being able to take a moment and just sit and speak with the residents, find out what they need and how they need it, allow them to really trust me and open up to me, because with my position, I need to be able to identify if this person needs help and how can we help with the other levels of care that we do provide. And I have been able to do that for the last several weeks, and I love it. It's something that I knew that I was going to love, and it's just the stamp of approval, like, yes, this is it.
Well, and great to hear that, and I'm sure the residents, it's music to their ears, because, you know, what we want is individuals like yourself, and again, you know, we realize someday if you become that DNP that you have to figure out where am I at, but we hope there's this long setting here. And I just view that I've benefited and cherished my work for so many years in this field because of the relationships with the residents. You know, it's very few occupations where you get established long-term relationships that are as, I'll use the word intimate. They're intimate, they're comfortable, they're friendly, they're caring. There's all these things you could define how we and our residents relate. And we become that family.
Yes.
So it's unique for
Yes,
sure
it
in a
is very
workplace.
unique.
And I often will say to people, and sometimes I just say, you know, and all of the stresses and all the things we see, because we hold it. It's our responsibility as management. But I still just am overjoyed to say, you know, I get to come to work at a place like this.
Yes.
And you have to sometimes just count those blessings.
Yes.
So really cool.
Not one day has been stressful as of yet, and I'm so thankful that I'm able to say that.
Well, and the other thing that, again, you've already done so, and you'll continue. It's not just touching those, literally 325 independent living lives. So often those relationships will continue as they go to another level of care.
Yes.
And then really where you are, you do connect in so many ways with many of the team members, some from a just working relationship,
Right.
some because of your help and support to them.
Right.
Pretty interesting
Yes.
group of people.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah. So you've obviously gotten acquainted with Tamika,
Yes.
and it brings smiles to all of our faces.
Yes.
I view her. She's that sort of air traffic controller down there.
Yes, she definitely is.
And,
she
did-
is like the backbone of the clinic, and
Yeah.
she's awesome. She's been a very big help to me.
Yeah. So that occurs, and there's so many things that are happening there. You've got that supportive team sort of adjacent right with you, handling the transportation,
Yes, they're awesome too.
and Jackie Cuff and some devoted people.
Yes.
And then to speak for a moment, home care companion, because you got a team of people. You'll get more involved in that as you become comfortable with it.
Yes.
But what's your initial thoughts, and just to help residents understand, what are those companions able to do, and what types of folks are they helping with today?
Yes, so I am still learning, the full span of what the what the home care companion does. But from my understanding, they are able to assist with that ADL care when they enter the resident's home. Should a resident need help with medication management, they're able to be there and ensure that the resident is taking their medication, whether it's in the morning or at night or during the day, and just being that support for the resident, which is very important. That's my take on what we have to offer when it comes to the home care companion.
And absolutely. And I know as you're getting acquainted with us, and you've been working alongside Courtney and our marketing team, and a time that Courtney and I had with the residents a couple weeks back when we were talking about our independent living admission criteria. And the number one is, as we are so regulated, which even in independent we are now, we have to assure people can live independently, safely.
Yes.
And back to living safely, which is American Disabilities Act and fair housing, there are times they can live safely with the support of a spouse.
Yes.
Sometimes they can live safely with a supportive home care companion.
Yes.
And this is that fine line that I know you're quickly mastering between when can that person live safely there, and when do we really need to start the conversation?
Yes.
And then you've got this phenomenal team. Right now, you and Donna Yatsko.
Yes.
and so I can just think of two folks that are just phenomenal. Soon you're going to have another piece to your triangle, Leslie Bryant.
Yes.
In fact, just past week we put out notice that she'll be joining us September 9th.
Okay.
And Leslie will be that independent living resident relations coordinator, helping people as they first move in, enjoy all their independence. But at some point, people always say, well, tell me more about the clinic. Help me to understand that extra level of service, because they start in all independent, but they know that it's here,
Right.
and in time they want to learn about it.
Yes.
So just residents, someday when we have these three ladies up on stage and they're doing some presentation for you, whatever, you're just going to see how blessed you are.
Yes.
So really excited about that.
I have some fun, I do have some fun things that are going to be coming to the clinic to be able to allow myself to provide some education to our residents. And I think it'll be very helpful for them, especially when it comes to speaking up if they do need help, and being able to recognize certain things. So the clinic has a lot that's going to be coming.
That's great. Well, and I think, just helping the residents access it, understand what they can do and go to.
Right.
It's wonderful. Yeah, I know Isaiah's here as our executive producer today, and he gets involved with our Chesapeake University, which is sort of this invisible but visible branding of lifelong learning, our own approach to it. And, having you part of that faculty and doing some presentations. And, he'll do some more filming because it's great. Sometimes residents love to see him recorded.
Yes.
Because I know they've listened to Donna time and time again.
Right.
And you'll be a part of that. So
Yes.
very, very powerful.
I'm very excited.
Yeah. So I know that when you're not working, a lot of time with your sons.
Yes.
Any other fun things. What do you like to do? What's your go-to
Yes.
hobbies or whatever is it?
I'm big when it comes to crafting. That's like my new love, I would say. I love to write and I love to shop. I am, fun fact about me, I love sneakers. Sneakers, I don't know if it's because I'm from New York or what it is, but I love to collect sneakers. And that's something I've done for such a long time. And it really brings me joy when I find a set of sneakers that I do not have, and I'm able to purchase them, and I take really good care of them. So those are the things I love to do when I'm not working.
So interesting you say sneakers.
Yes.
Because, some of us, I guess, when I was growing up, I don't know why, I want to say we call them tennis shoes. And, think about why. I didn't play tennis as a kid. What were they? And, I go way back where, of course, I did have the Converse.
Yeah.
So or before that, residents remembered Keds.
Yeah.
They were an early shoe. But, the Converse, and I had, the black pair, and I had a white pair, and then I may have had one high top when I was on a basketball team. I'm trying to think. I always wanted, because my school colors way back then was purple and gold, and I think somewhere they did a purple one. Yeah, and I was like, ooh, I never got one. So
You're gonna
so
get those
what-
pair one day.
Do you have a favorite
Yes.
sneaker?
Yes. So I love Jordans.
Okay.
And Jordan 1s are my absolute favorite.
Okay.
They come out with so many different styles, and they release special ones every month or every few months. So I'm always like on the lookout of what's the next Jordan 1 that I can get. And then I hold on to them, take really good care of them, because one day they're going to be worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
And you're right. And to do that, do collectors ever save the boxes?
Yes.
So, I mean, like, do you have like a shoe closet?
I have a storage.
Okay.
I have
do.
over 150 sneakers. I have an actual storage
Times
unit.
2 is 300 shoes.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yes. I've
So,
been collecting them.
Yeah. I don't even have that many ties. I'm close, but wow.
But it's
So-
a hobby of mine.
So someone I'm going to introduce you to when she comes down and visits us is Christine Moran.
Okay.
Christine is our LifeSpire controller, works in our accounting area.
Okay.
She may have you matched on numbers of shoes.
Oh, really?
And she has an extraordinary collection.
Oh, yes.
So you're
I
going to
would
want to
love
meet her.
Yes.
So just remember Christine, and again, well, maybe I have to show this to her, and she'll quickly want to engage
Yes.
you. Okay. Well, that's a unique hobby. Now, it could be really expensive if both your boys choose
can.
to do this,
Yes.
because if they start collecting, well, I want to be like Mom.
The thing is that my oldest,
Mm-hmm.
and I know it's totally my fault, all the sneaker boxes or the packages that would get delivered to the house, he called onto it. He would say, Mom, can I? Now he's able to like fit my size. Actually, he's past my size, but he is wanting the same sneakers that I'm getting. So it can get very expensive, very
Yeah.
expensive. But he takes good care of his shoes. And I told him, hold on to them because one day they're going to be worth a lot of money.
Okay.
So.
Exciting.
Yes.
Well, Octavia, it's great having you part of the team.
Yes,
And
I'm so glad to be here.
it's residents will get to know you more and more over time.
Yes.
You can stop by the clinic and visit her. She's, just a very welcome part of our family. And look forward to meeting your sons. You have to bring them to Christmas to Chesapeake. And,
Yes.
And at other times, people just, at days off or not, if they're in the area, bring them down, let them see it. Residents will love to meet your sons.
Yes.
So
Okay.
it's just a special part of the family.
Yes, I would love to do that. Thank you.
Good.
I
All right.
appreciate that invitation.
All righty. Well, thank you for being with us today.
Yes, sir.
And for residents, thanks for joining us, and concludes another great interview on the Chesapeake Today Show.
Yes, thank you.